call to order the September Elizabethton City School Board of Education regular meeting. At this time, I will ask that everyone stand. I'll ask Mr. Van Huss to lead us in a moment of silence followed by the pledge to the flag.
Please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion on anything there? Okay, we don't need to vote on that, right? All right. It's now time for citizens to speak, and we did not have anyone asked to speak before the board. So we'll move on to special recognition. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Van Huss as we have some special recognitions tonight.
Okay, Ms. McCamey, are you going to handle that for us today? So if you can come on up, do we have a mic up here? Great. If you can see Ms. Baird, she will. Thank you very much.
We thank you. Is it working? Oh, okay. Making sure. We thank you for allowing us to recognize Kaylee tonight. This is Kaylee Shoemake, and she has moved on and left me and gone on over to the high school, but she not only won first place at the state level in multimedia and website design, but she won nationals. And so it's a really high level of competition at the national level. And so we wanted to recognize her tonight. Did you bring your award up here? No, it's okay. I was going to show you her awards that she got. So at nationals, they bring you up just kind of like at the Olympics where you're on stage, and it's a really big deal. They take the top 10, and Kaylee made 10. So we were really excited about that. Unfortunately, we didn't get to be in California because everything was virtual, but we're hopeful if COVID will just go away and leave us all alone. Chicago this year, so hopefully. So state winning first place, which was outstanding. They sent her a plaque. And then for nationals, she got a medallion, which was, like I said, like the Olympics. They treat it like the Olympics. So, and if I'm going to let Kaylee, I love to put them on the spot because, you know, they're such wonderful leaders and it's leadership building. But I'm going to let her tell you what she had to do to get there, what competition meant and what she had to do.
So we went and made a website about the Isaiah 117 house. And so we went there and we helped with them, and they had a lot of organizing to be done because they don't get a lot of time to do it. So they definitely enjoyed us being there. And then we interviewed them about their story and what made them join and help out. And it was very heartwarming hearing why they did it. And it hits close to home for them a lot. And a lot of my friends have been in situations like that, and so I'm just really happy for places like that to exist and things like that. So it was nice to win doing something for them and showing the community around and everything like that. And so we tried to sell t-shirts and things like that for them, which was nice. And so I hope we helped at least some and got their word out.
Thank you guys for recognizing Kaylee tonight. I'd love to give her a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Do you all mind to come back and let's get a quick picture, if that's okay?
We're very excited to have a middle level. I had a high school level for years.
Excuse you, sir.
For high school now.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. And
She's
we're
a Harold McCormick child.
Harold McCormick girl?
Yes.
All right. And we're Big Skills USA. It continues on even at the college level, so that's exciting. So thank you for your work too in that, Rhoda. Okay. Next, it's time for updates and reports. So at this time, we'll turn it over to Mr. Van Huss for the director's update.
Okay. Thank you very much. Would like to begin by saying we have submitted our ESSER 3.0 grant. We're waiting for feedback on that and approval of that grant. We have modified our budget for the 21-22 school year for ESSER 1.0, and we have received approval back from that. We received that late yesterday afternoon. We'll be working on rebudgeting the money that we have left from 2.0 now in the coming weeks. So we, again, are very excited about all the different programs, staffing, and things that we've been able to add because of those funds, and look forward to sharing more news with you on that as it continues to unfold. We'd again just like to encourage everyone to come out and support our students in their various activities, whether it be band, some athletic competition, or anything else. Our students are working very hard, and in a lot of ways, that's kind of the front porch that people see the school system when they see them perform out in the community. Whether, again, it's in one of those activities or maybe it's volunteering for something as a group. So we just want to support them any way that we can and just appreciate all their work that they're doing and again, the way they represent us. Tomorrow at the high school, we will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony for the STEM lab. That's from 11 to 1 o'clock. The space is incredible. It's something that we are very excited about and very proud of, and we thank the partnership with the TCAT for providing the lion's share of the material and the equipment in there. So we would like to invite anyone that would like to be there for that tomorrow. We are going to cut the ribbon somewhere around 11 o'clock, is that right? Okay, so if you can be there for that, we would greatly appreciate it and look forward to the opportunities that's going to provide for our students. The Grow Your Own grant, we've talked about that in recent meetings. That's a partnership, again, between the Department of Education, Milligan, and of course the school system, and it essentially pays for 3 teacher assistants to go on and further their education and get certified in the teaching profession. So there were 3 employees selected: Susan Frickle, Lisa Horan, and Jay Scurry. And so we're very excited about the opportunity not only for them, but what that could mean for us in the future. They're fantastic employees. They're great for our students. And so this just gives them an opportunity to take that and maybe even influence even more students potentially in the actual field of teaching. So we're excited about that program. We're hopeful that there will be another round, and maybe we can even add more of our very deserving and very skilled teacher assistants that we have across the system. Just wanted to let you know that as of today, we have 28 positive cases in the school system. So that's down from a high of 67 a few weeks ago. So we're thankful for the cooperation and the partnership, again, with our employees, our students, families. Things are going well. So, you know, what we can talk about that. That's an item that's on the agenda we'll be talking about. But, you know, my suggestion would be to the board to consider maintaining the current course we're on, again, because it seems to be working and we have students where they need to be, which is in school if they're healthy. So we're we can't do it, as we said the last meeting, we can't do it with any one of that group. It has to be a group effort. Everyone has to be a part of that. So I'm very excited about that, and we just continue to want to see those numbers. 28's too many. So we want to continue to see that number go down, but it's certainly trending in the right direction. There's so many examples that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share one example, but this is going on all over our school system. We have people stepping up in some extraordinary ways to keep the doors open, and I wanted to mention a few. We recently had a situation where we had several staff members out in the cafeteria at Eastside, and so we had people from all over the system, several from right here at the central office, that went out and helped. So I wanted to mention a few of these individuals by name: Kelly Whitney, Beth Wilson, Regina Isaacs, Chelsea Isaacs, Carrie Howell, Cindy Walker, Angie Shingleton, and Jackie Gwynn. They basically just all pitched in, either delivering meals or covering for those individuals that were out, that were out of the location here. We obviously still had to continue on and function, so we had people answering phones and things that they typically don't do. So that's just one example of what's going on everywhere. I could give you numerous examples, but I wanted to share with you just and put some actual names with all that we're talking about, the extra things people are doing. I know that Mr. Hurley at Eastside, Amy Morgenstern, Sylvia Tolley, Becky Hilton, all those individuals have also filled in those gaps during that staffing issue there. So again, just very appreciative of all they're doing. And again, that's just one example of the great work that's going on. One other group I wanted to mention was the school nurses. You know, we've, in some ways, we've increased their work with these well checks. And so just wanted to mention that group by name as well. Jackie Hachu, Jody Buckles, April Sutphin, Mandy Lewis, and Alicia Jarrett. Also, Teresa Robinson, our system-wide nurse, and Emily Brooks, our coordinated school health coordinator. Again, they're just doing a tremendous job with limited time and a lot of pressure, you know, trying to make decisions, help us make healthy decisions for our students and staff. So just wanted to mention that group. And also, again, not to leave anyone out, but the job that our custodians are doing, filling in, teacher assistants, teachers, maintenance staff, administrators, bus drivers, just, again, it's a team effort in everything we're going, whether it's contact tracing, keeping the doors open. Just people have been very, very willing to step into roles that they're not used to doing. So we're very, very appreciative of all that you're doing. So again, thank you very much. Thank you for your support in helping us educate children in the middle of a pandemic. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Huss. It's time for board member reports. I'll just share very quickly. First, I appreciate Miss Jamie Schaff for her infamous bundt cake for my birthday, and it will be available after the board meeting for select company. No, anybody's welcome to a piece of cake as long as it lasts. Also, I had a chance to attend a board meeting at Johnson County last week. They were going for a Board of Distinction award that they do annually, and it's just nice to go to see how other people do their school business. Treated very well, and I just, again, very welcome. They had a great facility to meet, and just similar discussions to what we have here, just in a different community. And they're trying to do the same thing with the resources that they have and the staff that they have. They have the same issues, some of the things you've just mentioned. But it was really nice to see another board and see how they worked, and I hope sometime maybe y'all get a chance to do that. It really is fascinating. Also wanted to remind people that the 27th is the TSBA Fall District Meeting for Northeast Tennessee. It will be a virtual meeting online. I think it's at 6 o'clock in the evening, and if you get a chance, it's not a long meeting, and you want to watch that. Just wanted to make you aware you probably are getting emails about that Fall District Meeting. Anybody else have anything? Okay, and did want to say Mr. Isaacs is just out of town. We do miss him and look forward to having him back next week, or next month, excuse me. Mr. Simley, time for City Council Liaison Report.
Sorry, between my hearing aid and this mask, I'm having a hard time tonight, so bear with me. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple things. Again, we have a lot coming up on the city. If you've been watching the news, reading the paper, we have a lot going on. Our Covered Bridge Days is, let's just say it's about 10 times more than it ever has been before. I mean, we've got block parties going on. We've got numerous, I call them bouncy houses for the kids at no charge. This year, our Covered Bridge Days is going to be something. And the reason I'm talking about Covered Bridge Days to school board is because we still are in dire need of volunteers. I hope I shamed some of the people at church. I put my name on the volunteer list at church, and I did get a phone call from Mike Maines. And I will be up there. I'm having surgery Friday, but I'm going to be up there Saturday working. So again, if any of you can come up, we would sincerely appreciate any and all help. It's all hands on deck. I mean, we're having to call in some of our police officers. But seriously, we do. We need all the volunteers we can get. So again, if you have any children at the high school that need volunteer hours, we would greatly appreciate it. That's Covered Bridge Days. And then right behind that, if you've not read the paper or seen the news, we're having an ice skating rink in downtown Elizabethton at the Covered Bridge Park. We will need volunteers at the ice skating rink. And it will be a synthetic ice skating rink, so we don't have to worry about the temperatures fluctuating and melting our ice. So we've got a lot of great things going on. And again, if students need some volunteer hours, or any of you guys want to come down and help out, roll your sleeves up, I'll be there. I'm going to be giving hot chocolate out. So appreciate your help on that. I was just talking with Chief Shaw. If you've not read the paper, also, the city, we're in the process of building I'm going to call it a firing range with the police department and for our police officers who will need, improved firing, with their pistols and rifles and weaponry. The only reason I'm saying that is I know we're working on a junior ROTC program. So again, if in the future, if those ROTC cadets or Navy, whatever we call them, again, if they will have weapons or need to be firing weapons, we will have a facility that we might be able to let the high school use there. So again, something, to work with the school.
Is that up here in Rolling Hills? Is that where that's located?
Chief, is that?
Got you, Sugar
Yeah,
Hall.
yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And also, we had a second reading on the federal projects fund budget for the school nutrition program. I don't know if you were there at the meeting last week, but we got that passed, and you guys are right at $27 million on your budget this year. So that's all good. So all the money's there, and that's all good. Lastly, in a lot of our meetings that we have, and I know the high school has a tremendous amount of projects in education and how you're teaching your students, but our city is a small town, like many cities are here in the state of Tennessee, but we are in a great need for engineers, in particular the PE certified engineers. But we like to recruit from within, just like the high school, the system, our school systems do. And we're wanting some young folks who are get their college degree in engineering, but we need to start at the grade school and junior high and high school levels in engineering. So again, this is a great opportunity for some school students here who are looking at an engineering program. The city of Elizabethton is wanting to hire some kids. We're wanting to hire some good folks. I met with a young man yesterday, as a matter of fact, in our water resource department. And he's not a PE or an engineer yet, but he's working on that. And the city's going to try to work with him to help him to fulfill his goals. But we need engineers in the electric department. We need in water resources. And again, it's just an opportunity for hopefully a few of our Elizabethton students to be able to stay home and stay here in Betsy and not have to leave like I had to leave to find a job. But again, I'm just trying to keep, help our students and get a job, and it'll be a good job. It'll be a real good job. So I think that's about all I had on my list here. But again, just some things with our students. More importantly, we need volunteers. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. And that STEM lab might be a good place for you to start looking for recruiting some of those engineer people. So, okay. Thank you, Mike. Okay. Next, time for student liaison report. Ms. Maggie, you have anything to report?
I don't have anything.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll move on then to the regular agenda. First item is to approve the rescinding of resolution number 001 for a 3-year lease agreement with Fermetco for a video board to be installed in Treadway Gymnasium, Elizabethton High School. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Second, all right. Mr. Van Huss, you want, and
Yes.
kind of, we're going to come, there's two things that kind of go back to back, but go ahead.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. So if you remember last month, you approved this lease agreement to purchase this video board to be installed in Treadway Gymnasium at the high school. What we're asking you to do is to rescind that. And the next item you'll notice there, B, we'll get to in a moment, is we would essentially just purchase that outright. We just think that's a better fit for us as a system. We can take that. It will actually reduce the cost a little bit because we won't have the finance charges to incur. And essentially, it will be the same arrangement, just now the athletic department with those first proceeds will basically just help put that money back in the general fund. So it'll save us a little bit, still allow us to get that and move forward with that purchase.
Okay. Any questions or anything about that? All right. Item is to approve the rescinding of Resolution 001 for a 3-year lease agreement with Formetco for a video board to be installed in Tribbley Gymnasium at Elizabethton High School. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then obviously the next item to approve is the purchase of the video board from Formetco for $51,737 to be installed in Tribbley Gymnasium at Elizabethton High School using cooperative purchasing pricing from the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, NCPA. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
And a second.
Second.
Second. All right. You kind of already heard the discussion. Or is there any questions about that or comments?
Just to clarify, that includes the video board itself, the equipment that goes along with that, an on-site tech, and the installation on the wall, and it also is a 5-year warranty, and that includes freight to ship it here as well. So just wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right. Item is to approve the purchase of a video board from Formetco for $51,737 to be installed in Tribbley Gymnasium at Elizabethton High School using cooperative purchasing pricing from the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, NCPA. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next item. Approved clinical affiliation agreement between the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Elizabethton Nursing Program and Elizabethton City Schools. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Okay, and a second. All right.
So let me explain a little bit about this. We just recognize the fact that the job that our nursing staff's doing currently in our schools. And so we were trying to think of ways that we could maybe assist them a little bit on a daily basis, maybe a couple days a week. And so after talking with Mr. O'Quinn and Mr. Pless, the idea came, we have agreements for student teachers and various other roles within the school system. So the thought was, well, what if we consider a clinical affiliation agreement with TCAP for their nursing students so they could come in and gain. So it's a win-win for both. They earn some clinical hours and experience in the school system, plus they're an extra set of hands for those nurses in the building. So to be quite honest with you, I really don't know why we haven't done this before. And so, maybe the pandemic has just helped us realize that this would be beneficial for both. So that is the request here, is to approve the clinical agreement between us and TCAT of Elizabethton to provide that clinical experience for their students as well as assist our nurses.
And I know this comes at a good time talking with the nursing director. She, as some clinical sites because of COVID, are removing that opportunity for some of those clinical opportunities. It helps us and it fills a void maybe for them also. So we hope that this will be a continued thing. So any other comments or questions? Okay, the item is to approve clinical affiliation agreement between the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Elizabethton Nursing Program and Elizabethton City Schools. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, ratify the purchase of early literacy skills classroom kits from Amplify in the amount of $77,513.76 using ESSER 1.0 funds. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Have a motion and a second?
Second.
Second. All right.
Yes, so this is additional support for our early grade students for literacy. And these kits, after this one-time purchase, there will be additional purchases each year for each school, but we'll roll that into our textbook budget. But I appreciate you allowing us to go ahead and purchase, because we were able to lock in that price and get us further up the line. Everyone around the state that's using this curriculum, they're also doing the same thing we are, and they're using ESSER dollars to do that. So we felt like it was imperative to get our slot in line to get those materials in our teachers' and students' hands as quickly as we could. So again, I alluded to the fact that our ESSER 1 budget has already been approved by the state, so these funds were part of that, and that's already been approved.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, item is to ratify the purchase of literacy skills classroom kits from Amplify in the amount of $77,513.76 using ESSER 1.0 funds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? There are none. Motion carries. Next item, approve a resolution of the Elizabethton City Schools Board of Education requesting amendment for open enrollment period for LEAs. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
And a second. All right, Mr. Van Huss?
Yes, so last year, the General Assembly approved Public Act number 479, which essentially outlines a process for school districts to allow in-zone, in-district transfers to different schools. So in our case, that would be anyone that may live, let's say, in the west side zone, in elementary zone, and would like to attend school at Harold McCormick or East Side. And as you know, we already have a system in place, and we've had that in place for many, many years. It first was, we would take, people would come and camp out to get their name on the list, and then we went to a lottery system, and, now we do that all electronically. But the real concern about this is we have a system that's already working. The constraints put on by this public act make that more difficult for us, because a large part of that is prior to filling any of these seats or moving anyone around, we have to try to estimate how many seats will be available in each grade at each school. And there's some inherent problems being able to get an accurate count on that, especially maybe in the spring. And to compound that, when you think about kindergarten students, oftentimes we don't know what kindergarten students are going to show up until after that first half day or that first week of school. So as you know, now the system is, the way that the process works, we collect anyone that's interested in transferring within the system as well as tuition students. And after that first half day, at that point, we have accurate numbers, and then we go through in a priority order. We go through and place those students. And the top priority after faculty and employee students is in-zone students that would like to go to a different school. So city residents that would like to go to a different elementary school. So we take care of those first, and I can't tell you in the 15 years that I've been at the central office that we've ever had anyone that requested that didn't receive that. So we take care of that before we address any tuition students. So my point is, we're able to do that in a much more accurate fashion, and I think that the process that we have in place meets what I think is the intent of this public act. But this act makes it more difficult for us to do that. So this resolution basically just states those facts, and this will be something that we will send on to the State Department and the General Assembly to ask them to reconsider the way they have that structured. So anyone have that was a lot, but anyone have a question on that?
And it's all based on the number of open slots in each, correct?
That's right. But, the thing that makes it difficult is oftentimes if you have, a kindergartner at East Side that wants to go to Harold McCormick, chances are you have one in kindergarten at Harold McCormick that wants to go to East Side. So sometimes it negates it. But if you have to tell that on the front end that you only have these many spots, it's just not very accurate. So it's an exercise that puts more burden on staff that we don't need to do. Again, we already have a system in place that meets the goal of this public act. So they just need to let us, our request is just let us continue on.
Yep.
I have a
with what we're
question.
currently doing. Yes.
What percentage of the children in any given elementary school in our system express an interest in going to a different elementary school?
It's very small. If you have much movement, it's typically when they're kindergarten students. So it may be something that, maybe it's someone that lives in the Harold McCormick district, but they work in Johnson City. So maybe they want them to go to West Side so they can drop them off on their way to work. So it's a very, very small, I would say maybe across the system. And Dr. Newman, I'm thinking we had no more than 20 that requested movement within the district.
It's a very small percentage of our tuition and transfer
Yes.
portion of that. So, the majority of the time that we spend on that day is with our tuition students to see what gets lost.
Yeah.
So it's very minimal, and I can't tell you exactly.
Yeah, and again, we take care of all of these students that this act addresses. We take care of them on the front end, so it's never an issue of, you know, we're not denying people that opportunity. Now, we have in situations where if someone's moved to a different school for which they're zoned, and they become an attendance issue, or they have attendance issues, discipline, things like that, we have denied them a lot, and we've made them go back. We've never said, no, you can't on the front end, but we may say after a year, we're denying that request, and you're going to have to go back to school in which you're zoned because there's transportation involved that could address attendance and things like that. That is not available if you go to a school that you aren't zoned for.
So is this really, it's more of a convenience that we try to help families with if they're in a situation where it would ease their.
Sure, I
it'd
mean,
make it easier for them to
yeah.
get their children to school.
And we try not to dig into all of those reasons, but at the end of the day, if someone is a city resident and for whatever reason they would like to go to one of the other schools, we try to accommodate that. So, yeah, and we're already doing that. That's my point. I don't think you're going to find. I would be curious if you'd find anyone in the city that would say, I wanted to move and they wouldn't let me. That's just not. That doesn't happen. Now we are much more strict on that once the school year starts. You know, we typically don't let people transfer once the school year starts, but this is almost like an open enrollment period where people are making requests for the next school year.
Okay. All right. Item is to approve a resolution of the Elizabethton City Schools Board of Education requesting amendment for open enrollment period for LEAs. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approve the purchase of 6 power unit replacements for main gymnasium bleachers at Elizabethton High School from Faciliserve in the amount of $17,283. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Second?
Okay, the never-ending bleacher saga, so I want to apologize on the front end. But first of all, thank you very much for your support in trying to address the bleacher issues at the high school. And part of what you've already approved on these particular, so the set that we're talking about in this particular item is the home side bleacher system, what we call the home side, where most of the Elizabethton fans sit. So if you recall, the original motion you approved for them to go in, and they basically changed out the rollers on those motor systems that allow the bleachers to move in and out, fold up and then extend. Well, they worked great until the next time it came time for a volleyball game, we tried to roll those out. And I don't know if the torque on those new rollers, because they were so new, torqued the motors out of the motor mounts and broke several of those. And the reality, again, you're talking about equipment that's almost 50 years old, and the replacement parts just aren't there. So really the only solution at this point is to go in and put a new drive system similar to what you approved to do in the balcony bleachers. So this will fix the problem, and that there won't be an issue. And what we will do, the units that weren't completely destroyed, we will salvage those parts because they would work if we have something similar that happened on the other side. So it would allow us to. Now, you know, I sit here and I'm talking about this set. I don't know, the same thing may end up happening on the visitor side. You know, it hasn't yet. We've rolled them out in and out multiple times, and that hasn't happened. So, but it will at least allow us some replacement parts. But this will fix that situation. Again, we couldn't even the amount of money that we've spent, we couldn't go in and replace all those bleacher sections with the amount of money. And even if we did, it wouldn't be near the quality of the seating that we have there now. So I certainly didn't want to come back and ask you for additional funds to take care of that, but we really have no choice if we want those to be operable. So, questions on that?
So this wasn't caused by something that the company put in? I mean.
No,
I
the
understand-
the only thing that I can say is, again, those rollers, they have like a synthetic surface on those. And so the original rollers, the ones that they just took off were the original rollers. So you're talking 40 years old. So I think over time, as that equipment has worn and those rollers, they didn't have the same, not to get too technical, but coefficient of friction. And so they would almost maybe spin some on the floor as they folded up, and they'd catch enough to fold it up. And I think they had so much catch on them as soon as they started turning, so they're torquing the whole system. And so probably what happened, one failed, and then probably that extra power or torque messed up the next one. So it messed up enough to where the only way to fix it is just replace all of them. So is it something they did? Indirectly, yes, but it wasn't, it wasn't negligence on their part, so.
Anything else? You kind of like using your engineering language from years ago, don't you?
Yeah.
Kind of make you feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Item is to approve purchase of 6 power unit replacements for main gymnasium bleachers at Elizabethton High School from Faciliserve in the amount of $17,283. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. And next is our discussion of COVID safety protocol, and Mr. Van has kind of addressed a little bit about where we are and maybe his recommendation. Is there any comments or questions other than what he has said?
Something's working. Still opt out if you want to. I mean, I don't see an issue in continuing what we're doing, so.
Do we want to, I don't know if we need to continue to set this as a regular item, or if we leave it open until we just feel like, do you think leaving it and having it as every month, or what are your thoughts about that? As far as, do we want to just leave it on every month's agenda to address at that point, or do you want to say until there needs to be a change? I'm fine either way.
Well,
So we're extending it through October.
Well, I guess that's the
That's
discussion,
what
what
we're-
you all want to, if you want to extend it.
If we
I'm
want to
at
meet till next month, we would have to address it again next month. If we want to leave it open-ended, then it's till we decide it. And
Yeah.
And it may be that we need to do it monthly. This is a fairly quick.
Well, I'm assuming we're going to hear numbers every time we
We had
meet.
two a week. We're hearing numbers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the magic number is to say, okay,
Zero.
mask off. I don't know where we are there. I think it's more a trend than it is a number.
Yeah, I think, my opinion on the, when do we demask or anything like that, I think that probably, when you look at community spread, that's probably more a community spread than maybe what we're seeing in the school, because I would argue that when you look at those positives before we instituted that, and then the little tweak that we made to the contact tracing, our numbers were much higher. So I think you've seen a direct result. And we hope to maybe have some more numbers for you all to compare in another week, because we'll have a comparison from the month of August and a similar time frame in the month of September that will kind of compare apples to apples based on the different setup that we have in those. So you could always say indefinitely till we need to make a decision. You could say any month that you want through December, and if we see something changes, we can always just do this. We can put it on the agenda, have a special called meeting. That's totally up to you all. But my suggestion would be, my recommendation would be to leave things just as they are, at least for the time being.
Parents have the option.
That's right.
Nobody has
That's right.
to wear it, so.
We have a mandate with an opt-out, and then the modification to the contact tracing, the quarantine rule. And we have, again, we've instituted the wellness checks as well as the temperature checks for everyone on campus.
And you talk about community spread, I think our system's doing a great job. The numbers are low, but Tennessee's the #1 state in the nation, when you look at population per cases.
Yeah.
So, I'm fine with doing that.
So you
I
wanna
have a
do it, Jim?
question. Okay, when they opt out, are teachers getting a list of those students? So if students come in that aren't on that list and don't have a mask, we're providing a mask for them?
We are. We had discussions about that at a couple of schools today. We had a principals meeting, and they were concerned that maybe some of their supply was getting low, and so, I mean, that's just an example. So we have a supply here at the
Okay.
central office that we're shifting, so yes, they are.
Okay.
So essentially then we would need a motion and a kind of an end date or to leave it open date kind of thing to continue as we are.
Well,
I say open, don't
Yeah, I'd say put numbers, then we put it on the agenda to do away with it.
So you
Okay.
would make a motion
Maybe.
for it to be,
Open.
yeah.
why would we do that when they can, I mean, they don't have to wear them, right?
If they
That's
opt
right.
out, yeah.
So I think we just keep everything
So
as it
what is that,
is.
what are we, I mean,
Yeah.
let them have that decision.
That's right. That's what
That's
we
all
want to
we're
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to motion and vote on that?
I
or
think you do need to
Yeah,
make
that's
a
what
motion,
I
because this
think.
is just a discussion, so someone
All
would
right.
need to make a motion and second and then a vote.
Make a motion, we leave it as is with, and leave open,
And-
date, for stopping it.
Okay, so the motion is to continue as is until there's a need for any change. Okay? Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Is that?
Did you get
is
that,
good?
Felicia?
Okay.
Yes. We want to continue the protocol as is until there's a need to make a change. And we would do that at a regular or a special call meeting, okay? All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And any opposed, and there are none. All right. Right before the last motion, we will be out of town on the regularly scheduled meeting date in November. That's the event in Nashville. And so I would like to ask that we move that from the 18th on a Thursday night to the previous Tuesday, the 16th, for our regular meeting. That be an issue for anyone?
That's November?
That's November, Still be at 5:30. Everybody be okay with that? And I'll check with Mr. Isaacs to make sure you good.
So that gives you
Okay.
another month if something comes
Yeah.
up and we need to put it in another.
Okay.
But we wanted to point that out since you can't be in two places at once.
All right. Okay. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held on Thursday, October 21st, 2021 at 5:30 here in the Mac Pierce Boardroom. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Second, don't forget about cake. Have a good night. Yes.